One of the biggest challenges in acting on our big dreams is this. It's a part of our human nature to focus on self-preservation. Our fear of making big changes has been explored in scientific studies about behavioral economics. William Samuelson and Richard Zeckhauser first proved the existence of a human status quo bias in experiments conducted in the late 80s. Participants were asked a series of hypothetical questions about how they would react given a set of facts. The study found it was most common for participants to answer with the choices that involved doing nothing new or maintaining their current or previous decision. This bias to focus on the status quo is often observed in real life. Think about the last time you chose from 3 or 4 different health plans at work. Did you go with the default? The one you chose last year? If you're like most consumers, you chose the plan you knew or were familiar with, i.e., the safe option, or the one that was the default or the middle ground, which required less decision-making. It takes extra work to discover the pros and cons of the new healthcare plan on the list. It also opens you up for the potential to choose wrong. The fear of loss is weighed more heavily by the mind than the potential for finding new gains by choosing a new plan. Weighing losses more than potential positives is also a human tendency observed in behavioral economics and known as the loss aversion bias. The same thing happens with us and our dreams for our life. We can often name what our big dreams are to our friends or our mentors and advisors. However, we immediately discount or let go of them because the safe thing to do is to maintain the status quo. It's a path we know well. Adding something uncertain to the mix can create fear of loss or be demotivating. An easy response to acting on our dreams would be to say, "Not now," because that lets us hold on to the dream while letting us off the hook for not taking any action toward achieving the big goal. It's also much easier to focus outwardly on the external journey of adulting. Paying our bills, moving through a career progression, buying a house, having a family, and generally doing what we're supposed to be doing. This represents the status quo. Working on a new big project that fulfills a passion, taking a sabbatical, or changing careers to do something more fulfilling all represent a departure from the norm and the status quo. We avoid the hard work of trying to examine whether our adulting and keeping to the status quo in our life decisions hurts or helps us getting our big dreams. Yet, simply being aware that we all have a bias toward keeping the status quo or averting potential loss is not enough to fix the flaws in our decision-making. That's why I advocate for lessening the focus on the outward journey and instead focusing on the inner journey so that we can not just name our big dreams, but go about living them. It's easy, maybe too easy, to stop asking yourself what would make you happy and stay close to the things that you think will make you safe. Sadie Doyle, a feminist author, once wrote, "This is wrong, and I will tell you why. You are never safe. Loss and change are constants. You will never be safe, and you may not always be happy, but you owe it to yourself to start asking the question." How do we start getting comfortable asking, "What will make me happy?" and trusting the answer? How do we begin to feel okay making decisions which might take us away from the safe zones of what we know into the potential unsafe places of the unknown that represent our big dreams? The answer is inner work. Before I get into the specific recommendations for this inner work, I would like to add the caveat that I'm not a licensed counselor, and this shouldn't be construed as professional mental health advice. I'm a financial advisor, and I don't facilitate therapy for my clients. However, I do want to know what matters most to my clients before we see what we can do with their financial life. In discovering what's most important, difficult feelings around money or family can come up, and I practice holding space for my clients as they share their experiences. This is very different from therapy.